Books make you hope. Books make you dream. Books make you laugh. Books make you scream. This is the Books That Make You show, discussing books with authors and experts, unraveling the inner pages of all the books that help make us who we are.
Welcome, everybody, to the Books That Make You show. I'm your host, Desiree Duffy, and we're talking about books that make you and your children of any age practice connecting to their inner greatness, their potential, and overall resilience. It's important to let kids learn to recognize that their truest potential lies within them before they start believing some of the world's limiting stories that are out there. And we're going to talk more about that with best-selling author Sarah Vie. She returns to talk about her children's book, Let Your Inner Golden Sparkle Shine. In it, kids learn that no matter what is going on around them, they have that safe place to land in their heart. Sarah, welcome back.
Yay! Oh, it's so lovely to be back, and a lot's happened since I don't even remember when it was, maybe 2 years ago or so. But yes, thank you so much for inviting me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so last time we talked a little bit about your children's book, but let's really focus on it because I think it's so beautiful and it's so important for kids to realize that they have this inside of them. Can you tell us about I got to say this right. Let your inner golden sparkle shine.
Let your inner golden sparkle shine. Yes. So this was I've just kind of made that realization, but this book was kind of a celebration when I healed my inner child. We all have one. And this little book is just this beautiful celebration of, what I wish I had known when I was a little girl. And believe it or not, in the lovely picture you have behind you that you drew beautifully, that little girl was me. So the character, when I had my amazing illustrator create me, I took a little photograph of what I used to look like when I was, pure and I was believing in myself when I was about maybe 5. And of course, it was all about the outfit, which I had my tulle skirt and my little sparkly boots, and I had lots of necklaces. So the character was me. Or it is me, still is in me. And when I went through healing myself, my little child that we all have inside of us was healed as well. And so this book really since we've talked, it won the Book of the Year in one presentation, I guess you could call it. It is now translated into French, which I was just in Paris doing a book signing. So it's really, really expanded, and I have so many great ideas about where I want to take it next.
Oh, and okay, I'm going to unpack all of that with you, including you're telling me about a meditation, but let's talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, I so want to talk about your meditation that you've created for kids. But first, I just want to point out, so I'm showing off the chalkboard wall. The folks that are listening are probably like, what are you talking about? So if you're listening to the show, you can always check us out on YouTube. We are a visual as well as an auditory medium.
Okay.
And yeah, okay. So we got young Sarah as this young girl. Let's talk about that, because you're right. Around the age of 5 or 6, we don't know any limitations. We don't have anybody telling us we can't do certain things, and we are so free. And then can you talk about the voices and the messages that young girls and boys too sometimes get?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, when we're born, every single one of us is born with this, the love, the peace, the happiness that we all strive for when we, become adults. And, this message that's in the book is so important, to remember that every single one of us has this inner golden sparkle, if you will, inside of who we are. And I always like to use the example. There's a story of, I won't, go through the whole thing, but it's a story of the golden Buddha. And it always reminds me of, the message in this is that, we're born golden and bright and sparkly, there's no limitations. And as we get older, we start to create the cement, if you will, that blinds us from believing in that inner golden sparkle. Just like when they discovered that the Buddha, the cement Buddha that they were carrying around, it's a true story, that they realized that underneath all the cement was this pure gold of a Buddha. And that's kind of how I envision every single one of us. And we somehow, through holding on to 3 generations of unhealed pain and trauma, that's in my next book, that our inner goldenness, if you will, starts to fade. And that's what happened to me. It was this bright and, fun little girl, and, other people's unhealed pain trauma started to cover that inner sparkle. So the messages, or the writing, is for the kids, but every single one of us should have this book, so that we understand that we are all sparkly inside, no matter what. And the idea as we grow older is to kind of chip away at what has covered our light.
That's such a great story, great metaphor, great visual. I love how all of that comes together. Why is it, do you think, that adults, society, why are we always packing all that cement onto ourselves? Why do we limit kids and society ourselves?
Yes.
We're doing this. Why?
Yeah, well, I really believe, that adults feel limited because they haven't healed, something from the past. And, my other book, I Wish I'd Known, is that I did a lot of research about, trauma and energy, and how we actually, without knowing, we hold on to 3 generations of unhealed pain and trauma. And that also is from limitations that, are passed down. And I know that I held on to a lot of limitations and, energy from my mother's and my father's past, and, before that. And then I couldn't understand, why did I suddenly, lose my light? And I think it's, society as a whole, society is pretty limited. And so many adults, they don't even understand that they're not even tapping in to, I think it's something statistically, it's about 40% of their actual, ultimate potential. And I think it is energy that we're holding on to. It is beliefs that we can't do whatever it is that we, set out to do. So I think that, the limitations from adults and from society is kind of energetically passed down to our children, and not, and sometimes we don't know. I don't think we set out what, I'm going to limit my child. We just don't know. And I know that my mother had absolutely beautiful intentions from me, but she didn't know. A lot of people don't know. And, I've used my life to really understand, what we are all not tapping into.
It's a cycle. And once we recognize it's a cycle, then we can make that conscious choice to break it or to continue it. And yeah, our moms, our grandmothers, grandfathers, grandparents, they might not necessarily have seen it in this way. The world changes, times change, people change.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And, I'm I celebrate my mother now because I understand. Like, I refuse to. I mean, I'm sure some limitations sneaked out a little bit. I have four grown children, and but I know that my daughter now who's 26. She's broken the chain. She's broken that. Like, I helped her. Hopefully, I helped her. Break that. The chain from the past and generational patterning. So hopefully it's not going to go any farther than me. So I was the breaker of the chain.
I love that. Be the breaker of those chains.
Be the breaker.
Yeah, the chain breaker. It reminds me of Daenerys and Game of Thrones. I'm going to break the wheel.
Yeah.
Good intentions.
Exactly.
Good intentions.
Yes.
Don't follow her path, though. That's a different story. Can we talk about how important it is for moments of peace and meditation, especially in our crazy, chaotic world? Why is that so vital?
God, I think that it's probably the most important thing that we can teach our children is to be not children shouldn't, what is that old expression that, children should be seen and not heard? That was the generation. But really, children need to be taught how to be quiet, not verbally, but just quiet in their minds, that they're not, now I don't mean to sound like an old fogey, but it's this generation of that they constantly have to be on social media. And, there is never a time where they're okay just being. It's always, they've got to go to their sports and, go here. I mean, just the chaoticness of being something, the validation from the outside world, where if we started to teach children how to be and not have to be identified by doing, that this world would be a better place. Because I always say, from a quiet mind, it comes our own truth. We're looking on the outside, trying to find the truth of who we are. And really, it is the only way, and the only true way it's going to come to us is through a quiet mind. Because I know, I think the statistics is that we think over 70,000 thoughts every single day. And it's no wonder we don't know which are true and which are made up and which we inherited. But if we just teach children just to be okay that you don't have to go and do 40 million things, every day. I'm not saying that, sports are really important, but start with peace and quiet. Start with that. And then, I wish I had known that when I was little. I've always been very connected, even as a child. But I didn't know, I was always my mother was always very busy, and I always had to be busy doing things, multitasking, going here. And I just wanted to, sit quietly in my tree fort when I was little.
I really want to go sit in that tree fort right now. That sounds like a wonderful place to be.
Tree fort in nature. I always loved to be, and I was a really cute little girl, because all I wanted to do was be in the stream, looking for salamanders, being in my tree fort that I always made with my brother. I just wanted a really simple life. I just remember just craving that, but it wasn't something that I experienced.
I think it's important too that every child, every person, they have personalities just like we do as adults, who recognize it in other adults. And seeing that your child might not be the performer on stage like mom might have been, or mom might want her to be.
Yes.
Or they might be that, and mom was the opposite way. So it's okay to let them be them.
Well, that's exactly true. And I think, bless my mother, but she definitely lived through my success. And I see it so much in parents that they live out their unfulfilled dreams through their children. And that is setting your child up, I'm sorry, eventually for the failure, for the not believing in themselves. Because my mother wanted me to ride horses from the age of 4 until about 24. I rode horses. That was just what I did. I didn't want to. I didn't choose that. But because of my mother's unfulfilled dreams, and my next book is a whole story about that, I wasn't able to live the way that I really wanted. Like, I didn't choose it. Like, I just wanted to take care of animals and be in nature. I don't know. It's like, what would I have been if I had been allowed to choose? But I wasn't. So I think so many parents. And I don't mean to say that it's a mistake, but it kind of is a mistake to not allow your children to choose what they want to do. And, for my children, they are all doing something completely different because I didn't dictate what they had. I didn't tell them they had to be or do anything. I mean, of course, I encouraged them. But yeah, I mean, I think that we just make that mistake with our children.
Yeah, we do sometimes. But to your point, guiding them, nurturing them, showing them options. I think options are always good. Would you like to learn to play piano? Yes. Take some piano lessons. Oh, shoot, that's not for you. Okay, let's pivot. And
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Yes, giving them choices. I didn't have a choice. I was writing, and that's what I did. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You don't have a choice, basically. But
can you tell us about your meditations? We teased it a little bit earlier on. You just created that.
I am so thrilled. This was, I do a lot, as you know. I mean, maybe you don't know, but every morning for the past 10 years, I have meditated, through from very deep trauma. I did meditation every day. I sat for an hour, just, being quiet, trying to understand my thoughts. And I'm always like asking guidance from my higher being. Where do I go? Show me what to do. Show me what to say. And for some reason, and I always listen to the first word that I hear. And for years, I just heard the word meditation. So I finally, it took me a while, but I did start to really listen, tune in, like, oh, okay, this is where I'm going. And I started to create these beautiful, if I may say so, meditations on YouTube. And I have one, it's a sleep meditation that has been up on the YouTube platform, and it within 5 days it got over 1,000 views. And this is what I want to do. And I was just saying before we went live, is that I just recorded this absolutely sweet little meditation that goes with the book, because I think it's really important to get your children to, just be quiet. They don't have to be on a mountain in the Himalayas. They can just be present. They can walk around with little, earphones and just listen and be present and be aware and connect to themselves. So this is that little meditation is going to be on my YouTube platform as well. So I'm just so thrilled that I finally listened to the word of creating meditations, and I love doing that. I love writing them. I love creating. I love getting into my very meditative voice. And I have a lovely studio near me that I go to, and it's so much fun.
That is fantastic. Absolutely love that. Well, we'll have to link to that when we post about this show, so people can check that out. What about, are there any other creative activities or things that you can recommend or share for parents to do with their kids?
Creative activities, first of all, think the most creative activity is let your child be a child. Like, I know that I grew up like very mature, very responsible, and I didn't feel like I was a child. Like, I had to be responsible and I had to be, go to all my horse competitions. And I never really had an opportunity to be a child. So the creativeness, which I'm now experiencing now, is my creativity comes through laughter. And, I wish I had been encouraged to really use our imagination to, to be a child and to make ideas up. And I was even told, my mother was English, and she would say to me, "Sarah, I can't stand the giggling. That is." So, I mean, can you imagine? Like, so of course, if whenever I had my friends over, what would I immediately start doing is start giggling even harder. But I think the creativity comes from allowing your child to be a child, allowing your child to just be in the energy of happiness and laughter. And I do have some things that I shared in my other book, but they're just like little ideas of how to allow your children to express emotions. And one of them is allowing, like, if your child is feeling anger or some like really expressive emotion, I used to have my children have little snow globes, and when they were feeling really, really angry, they could shake their snow globe until, and then they would watch the snow settle down. And it actually gave them a way to express how angry or frustrated they were by shaking their snow globe. And then, they could realize, like, okay, now I'm calm. And so the snow kind of represents them getting back in alignment to, to themselves. That was one little creative thing that I did. And then the other thing, which I still do now, is I used to, when my children would go out in nature, we would go and we would find stones in shapes of hearts. So all the time we would go out and just see if we could see hearts everywhere. And I still do it today. And I was coming back from a trip from California, and I found this giant heart stone. It was huge. And I packed it in my bag, and I was stopped by security because supposedly I could not take that onto the airplane, but I still do it now, which is just, I love not finding shells, but I find anything that has a heart shape. So that's something that, you can, encourage your children to do, is just see the world through the energy of love. And anything, like, even gum on the ground can have a shape of a heart. So, yeah.
Yes, it can. The snow globe. Oh, I love that idea of that chaotic, frenetic, and then.
Yeah. I mean, even if, your child is nervous about something like a test, little, spelling test or something that's happening, they can shake their snow globe just to kind of get the energy out. And then, like, it's almost like a little, I guess little mini meditation, just to know that it's okay to feel those energetic emotions, and then seeing the snow calm as our emotions settle.
Now, you've brought up your book, I Wish I'd Known, a few times. So and like I said, we have we'll link to that one too. We have that recording from the Books That Make You Show. But can you remind us about I Wish I'd Known?
Yeah. So this was kind of the second step in my healing. And it's all about how to release the ancestral patterns from our past. So it's kind of a memoir / self-help, because I give little meditations. There's little QR codes where I actually have meditations recorded. And that's also won some book awards this year. I released it. My book anniversary will be the end of September. And that's been translated into French as well. But I Wish I'd Known is all about how to release the energetic generational trauma energy that we hold in our 7 chakras. So it's a little, but I read that book the other day, and it's some of the stories are I still laugh at my life. I've had little moments where it's just like, I've just had a really fun life, even though I've had a lot of things that I've had to release and to heal within myself. So yes, I Wish I'd known is my second one. And I have a third book that is in edit right now as well.
Ooh, okay, we'll have to have you come back again.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Talk about that one.
Absolutely. Yes.
It reminds me, you keep reminding me of something Michael Myers, the actor, not the scary guy, slasher guy. Michael Myers, the actor, many years ago, I saw an interview, what was his name? James Lipton interview. Mm-hmm. And he said something to the effect of, silly is a state of grace. And you're reminding, like, I keep getting that back. That's something, one of those things that just always sticks with you, right? You have those words, phrases. But a lot of what you're saying, that's silly, embracing that silliness is therefore embracing your creativity and allowing kids to be silly and have fun.
Yes. Like what is wrong with silliness? Like we'll get to this, but I'm creating a talk in London next March, and my favorite way of talking to people is through humor. Like, I love humor, and I feel like we stifle. So, of course, you don't want to be goofy in class or whatever, but sometimes that might be a way that a child learns. Like, I saw a YouTube video of this lovely man who was a teacher of these little kids. And he did this like really funny dance of how to say the ABCs. And all these kids and they all know how to sing, their ABCs, rather than just, I don't learn well when I'm, being too serious. And I love that. Say that line again. So silly
is a state of grace.
Is a state of grace. Yes. Because who doesn't like to have a really deep, energetic belly laugh? Just laughing. I just had my best friend, she lives in Sweden here, and we just laugh. Like, it's just the most beautiful, creative thing that you can do for your body is to laugh. But we're so serious all the time. Everything is serious. Everything is like, we have to be, like little soldiers. I know that I love to laugh. I love that. Silly is a state of grace, right? Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Releases all of those dopamine receptors when we're laughing and being silly. And that helps us be creative.
It is. It does. That's the best way that I know that I write better when I'm feeling, the laughter, releasing that energy inside of me. So yeah, I definitely, I see life now through the eyes of the child that I wish I was. Like, it's almost like everything that I see now is, not everything is funny, but I just see it with humor, and I see, how can I be creative in this moment?
And I think you're absolutely doing that, Sarah, with your book, Let Your Inner Golden Sparkle Shine.
Oh, I do. It is, because we have so many like things as children that we take so seriously, but like all you got to do is just, gently close your eyes and take a deep breath, cross your hands across your chest and feel your heartbeat. That is you. That is your inner golden sparkle. And we forget that it's always there. We always try to look for something on the outside to make us feel better, whether it's, new clothes or, validation from something or, oh, good job on that. Like, no, we don't need that. What we do need is to know that everything that we look for on the outside is already sparkling on the inside, wanting us to believe that it's there. Sometimes we don't even think that it's there. But my inner golden sparkle is certainly shining. I just turned, and see, this is the thing, like it's in our society, getting older is kind of like a, like, oh, I just turned 60, but I don't call it 60. I call it sexty, because I used to be 50 fine. And now I'm sexty, and my whole talk in London is going to be, I'm going to incorporate humor about that, because it's the abundance of aging. And I just see everything as just a way of finding humor, even though everyone's like, I should be in a, like a 55 and over, community, and I can play bingo. I mean, I actually like bingo, but
yeah, bingo's fun. Don't be dissing the bingo.
No, I'm not dissing the bingo, because I and like bowling. Like I can see the humor in going bowling. But yeah. So
well, Sarah, you definitely are really sexty. I like that. Sexty. Very much. I would have never guessed you as being sexty. Yeah. So you're doing something right.
Thank you. Yeah. As I had a workout this morning, and just my face was just dripping with sweat, and I'm like, yes, I can still do this at my mature age.
Oh, love it. Okay, Sarah, give us your details. Tell folks where they can go to find all your books, find your meditations, your website. Give us your details.
So yes. So on YouTube, of course, you just search Sarah Vie. I'll share the link with you. My books are books.sarahvie.com, or you can just go to my website, sarahvie.com, and you'll see all the drop downs, all the press that I've done, all the where my books are available, events that I'm doing. So it's all on my website. But go to my meditations, because the little it should be up in about 2 weeks. My little sweet little meditation it's called Sparkle and Shine, and it's just teaching your children how to just start to connect to who they are.
We will do that. We're going to link to that. Sarah, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. I could talk about this all day, but I know you only.
We'll have you back. Book number 3, you're coming back. We'll remember that.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being with us as well. You can find out more about us on our website. That is books.makeyou.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you ring the bell, subscribe, leave some comments below. It all helps the channel immensely. And we're also on TikTok. Be sure to subscribe to our Webby Award-winning newsletter as well, so that you never miss a great author like Sarah on the Books That Make You show. And mark your calendars, because the Book Fest returns October 21st and 22nd. Free to attend online. Go to thebookfest.com to sign up. Until next time, all of my bookish buddies, please enjoy all of the books that make you exactly who you are.
The host and executive producer of the Books That Make You show is Desiree Duffy. Sound mastering and engineering by Dave Napox. Social media and content promotion by Siddhi Jahagirdar. Copywriting and editing by Mike Robinson. The Books That Make You show is an award-winning podcast produced by Black Chateau Enterprises.